TRD stands for Toyota Racing Development. Now, you've probably heard that name from Toyota's trucks, the Tacoma, the Tundra, the 4Runner, things like that. The firm has also been very active in NASCAR and other racing endeavors. Now, they've decided to put that name on a Camry. This is the 2020 Toyota Camry TRD, the sportiest version of Toyota's mid-size sedan. Now, the sedan market has been shrinking, but the TRD name has been dormant from cars like this for a very long time. You used to be able to get like TRD superchargers and stuff for the Solara, but now this is no longer just a dealer installed option. This is a car that you can go to a Toyota dealership and buy from the factory. We're gonna go ahead and show you the 2020 Camry TRD and check out what this car is all about. When I was a kid, the Toyota Camry was easily one of the most boring cars on the road, but not anymore. Look at this. The TRD model is so spectacular looking. It's so aggressive. Now, you might think it's a little too aggressive, but hey, I'd rather have this than a boring, plain marshmallow design. We've got this awesome supersonic red color. That's the signature color for the 2020 TRD model. They all come with a black two-tone roof with black mirrors. We've got this whole red and black theme going on. The front end of the Camry is aggressive no matter what trim you get, but here on the TRD model, we have a little bit more aggressive nature here with this black diffuser. Coming around the side, we get unique 19-inch wheels, matte black. They look really cool. I love these wheels. You also get red brake calipers up here. You do also get 2-piston calipers instead of the single pistons you get on a normal Camry. Back here, we just have a floating rear caliper. Of course, it's painted red though. Back here, you can see that diffuser comes all the way back. We have a little red stripe on the bottom matching the exterior of the car. And unlike the Avalon TRD that we tested several months ago, we have a massive rear spoiler on the Camry TRD. Just look how big this is. I find it amazing that you can, in 2020, buy a Camry with a massive rear wing like this. This is not a spoiler. This is a full-on wing. We have some other touches back here letting us know that we have a TRD. We've got black Toyota logos, black Camry name, red TRD badge, and if you look down here, we have chrome tipped exhaust, and that is a catback exhaust that we're going to hear when we get it out on the road. Alright, so now that we've checked out the exterior of the Camry TRD, let's hop on inside where we do have some unique touches letting us know that this is a TRD-ified Camry. Now again, this is a lower trim of the Camry. The TRD is actually the cheapest V6 Camry model that you can get. So we don't have a ton of like high-tech features in here. We have sort of this small touchscreen here with this very big plastic area, black gloss plastic around it. It makes the screen look a lot smaller than it is. I think the screen is actually quite fine. It's pretty responsive, like everything moves quite quickly. I have it now set to its red theme. I actually like how Toyota lets you change the themes on this. So here we can have a completely different theme set up here. So I do like that. It does have a backup camera as well. Android Auto and Apple CarPlay do come standard. Now, the one thing it is missing, you might see this big button that says map, but if I push it, you disappointingly get a message that says the navigation app is not installed. Now, you might be able to get that as a dealer add-on, but as standard, at least the Camry TRD does not have built-in navigation. We do have automatic climate control, although it is only single zone, and we don't have any heated or ventilated seats. Now, these seats are unique to the Camry TRD. I believe you can get a similar seat on different Camrys, but this one has some unique touches. We've got sort of this red stitching on the seats. We also have these red stripes on the center, which are sort of like a cloth. The outside of the seat is leather. We also have TRD in red stitched on the headrest, and if you haven't noticed, I'm buckled up with a red seatbelt. I love colored seatbelts. You only really see these on like Porsches and other like very expensive sports cars, so to see it on a Camry is quite cool. I have a very nice steering wheel as well. It's leather wrapped, very similar to what you'll get on a lot of other Toyota products, although I have red stitching. My shifter is also special. It says TRD embossed in it, and it of course has red stitching as well. Red stitching here on the dash. Red is definitely the theme here with the Camry TRD. We also have red gauges. They're a little bit hard to read in bright daylight, but they look really cool at night when the digits all glow red. Of course, they have a black face as well. Only a small helper screen here in the center. Of course, this is not a fully loaded Camry, so no sunroof, no panoramic roof, no things like that. But I do enjoy the Camry's layout. You have this storage area here. If I go ahead and put my phone on it, you can see the tray is very much large enough for a phone. And if I slide it forward, you have like a little area, so the phone stays on the tray, and now I have a storage area beneath it that is unencumbered by my cup holders. I have my USB plug here for Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, and all of the controls, so easy, so simple, so intuitive to use. Big volume knob with a tuning knob right below it. Thank you, Toyota, for still including a tuning knob. I miss those on the Camry. And you are going to see this cabin change a little bit next year. We are sitting in a 2020 Camry TRD. For 2021, this center screen is going to be raised. It's going to be a little bit higher. You can get the Camry with either a 7 or a 9-inch screen for the 2021 model year. We're also going to get blind spot monitoring. That's going to be nice on the Camry TRD. You're also going to get rear cross traffic alert as standard, heated mirrors, and as an option, you'll be able to get the JBL audio system, which this 2020 model does not have. Now back here, the Camry is pretty roomy. We've got 38 inches of legroom. Headroom is pretty good as well, even though the Camry looks like it would have a low roofline. It is quite comfortable back here, but on this TRD model, I'm lacking rear air vents. I'm not sure if other Camry models have it, but this one definitely does not. We just have a storage area back here. So for about $31,000, that does seem like a bit of a concession to make in the backseat. Now, if you want to haul big items, the big winged Camry might not be your ideal choice. We've got the same 15.1 cubic feet of storage that you'll get in pretty much any other Camry. Now, the TRD model does have this really nice carpeted trunk mat that says Camry TRD on it with some red piping around the outside. That's pretty cool. What's not so cool is that to make this car a little bit stiffer, I believe Toyota told me that they had to add a cross brace here behind the rear seats. That means that you cannot fold those rear seats down into the cabin, which means you cannot get large items back here in the trunk. That's just a little bit disappointing. All right, so now that we've checked out the 2020 Toyota Camry TRD, all that's left is to get it out on the road. And under the hood, we don't really have anything different with the TRD Camry versus a normal V6 model. So we still have a 3.5 liter V6 making very good power, 301 horsepower and 267 pound-feet of torque. And can we just stop for a second to remember that as of right now, in 2020, we are equipping Karens that can afford a little bit more on their monthly payment to upgrade from a 4-cylinder to a V6 Camry with as much power as you used to get from a V8 Mustang GT in 2005. Okay, now that we're clear, let's just talk about this engine. I think it's a great one. I really love Toyota's V6 engines. They're smooth. It's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, shifts very smoothly. The only problem that I have with it is if I go over here on the manual mode, I do have paddle shifters to play around with, but Toyota never gives its front-wheel drive models a true manual mode. It's always, it'll go up to that gear. So if I have it, an example for S4, that doesn't mean it's going to hold into 4th gear. It just means that it will shift up to 4th gear. So when I go ahead and do a launch, we of course have front wheel drive only. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off traction control. I'm sure we're gonna light up the front tires here, but let's see what it'll do. Yep, lighting up the front tires. Not a lot of traction there. But then once we get it, ooh, this thing feels real quick, real smooth. Really nice power delivery once you do hook up with the front wheel drive. Toyota is going to do all-wheel drive on the 2021 Camry, but not on this V6 model. If you can get the front tires to hook up well, you should do 0 to 60 in about 5.8 seconds, which is not the quickest in this segment. There are actually cars with less power than this, turbocharged 4-cylinder engines, that will do it quicker than this, but I think that's really a result of grip and just power delivery and it hooking up. Trust me, aside from the launch, this Camry feels really impressive in terms of power, and I think the ability to smoke the front tires whenever you want on demand is a pretty cool feature in and of itself. Now, you do get some TRD stuff. I said that you don't get any extra power when you opt for the Camry TRD, but you do get a lot of other things. For example, you get a catback exhaust. Again, let's just stop and think about that you can now buy a factory Toyota Camry that comes with a factory catback exhaust. That is absolutely hilarious. So let's go ahead and listen to that a little bit. Oh, really? You can hear it a little bit, but I will say I've driven this car on several occasions. The catback exhaust is really great for the people who are outside of the car. They can hear it a lot better than you can, but when you're accelerating in this car, it does feel a lot throatier than like a normal sedan or like a normal Camry. I do have normal, eco, and sport modes that I can play around with. Now, they don't do like a whole lot to change the personality of the car, but I just went ahead and put it in sport mode, and oh boy, you do feel some torque steer. That's to be expected of a 301 horsepower front wheel drive car, so you are getting some torque steer here. But when I push it through the corners, it does quite well. You can see there was a big bump there. We do have a stiffer suspension on this car than a normal Camry. So this has 0.6-inch lower coil springs, stiffer sway bars. We get TRD shock absorbers on this car. We also have bigger brakes with 12.9-inch rotors and dual piston calipers. You only get single pistons on a normal V6 Camry. So there are some performance upgrades to be found here, but they're not like crazy performance upgrades. I would call this an approachable performance car. It's for the dad who wants to say that they have like a somewhat cool car. They're gonna look at a Kia Stinger and go, oh, well, I don't really need the rear wheel drive. You know, I'm not doing any race car driving on the weekend. That's the type of guy who would probably, guy or girl, who would buy this car. They would say, you know, I'm not really doing any serious performance driving, but I want something that looks cool, has a little bit of extra performance, and it is a little bit rare as well. And you don't lose too much of like the normal Camry vibe when you opt for the TRD. The Camry is a little bit of a loud car. I have criticized it for this before. I think road noise is just a little bit higher than what you'll find on like a Mazda 6 or a Honda Accord or some of the other competitors in this segment. And the TRD is quite a bit firmer. I wouldn't call it uncomfortable, but it is a lot firmer than some other cars in this class. Now, that being said, this is still a very comfy sedan. I wouldn't mind taking it on long road trips. You get a ton of standard safety stuff as part of Toyota's Safety Sense P suite that comes standard. You get pre-collision avoidance, automatic adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, and auto high beams. The one thing we don't have, it's a big thing that we're missing, is blind spot monitoring. But if you opt for a 2021 Camry TRD next year, that will have blind spot monitoring as standard, and it's pretty efficient too. It's only a little bit less efficient than a Camry XSE with the V6, and I'm thinking that's probably because of maybe the wing, maybe some extra weight, not sure, but it gets 22 mpg in the city, 31 mpg on the highway, and 25 combined. That's not terrible either, so you don't lose too much practicality. It is a pretty enjoyable car to drive. I think overall the Camry TRD is a very lovely and pretty sporty driving experience. So that was the 2020 Toyota Camry TRD. Pricing starts at just over 31 grand, and with destination, you're gonna be around $32,000. Now, if you want this awesome supersonic red color, that's gonna be going away for the 2021 model year, so I suggest acting fast on this one. Now, this is quite a limited car, but it's not quite as limited as the Avalon TRD that I recently tested, meaning you're probably gonna see more of these out on the road. Now, this is not a track monster. You're not going to be embarrassing sports cars on the weekends in this, but I think it looks cool enough that when you park this on your driveway, people are gonna think that you bought something special. Even though it is just a Camry with similar performance, it does have some handling upgrades and it is quite fun to drive. And at that affordable price, remember, this is the cheapest way to get a V6 Camry. I still think it's a winner. We really hope you've enjoyed this review of the 2020 Toyota Camry, but YouTube still tells us that so many of our views are coming from non-subscribers. Come on, people, let's fix that. Subscribe, hit that notification bell to be alerted of our latest videos. It really helps towards making more reviews just like this one, and be sure to click the link in the description below to be taken over to carbuzz.com where you can learn all about the 2020 Toyota Camry. Hope you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you next time.